I'm going to share with all you crybabies out there how to install a CushCore from a wheelchair.
Last time on the
Today
UNP.
is all about suspension. Ah, that's it. So green. Wow. Oh, I'm riding this really.
Welcome to the Unpavement. I'm Jeremy McGhee, and I'm on a mission to document trails for adaptive riders.
I got to get my bike ready. It came with plus size wheels, which are great for bike packing, adventuring, riding fire roads, things like that. But for riding downhill, I needed something different. Da-da-da! So I bought a set of Stan's Flow rims. CushCore sent me 3 CushCores, and I've got Maxxis Assegai tires. I am an ass guy. That's true. The first time I installed a CushCore, it took me like 4 hours. I was literally in tears. I was so frustrated. A lot of people cry about installing CushCores. They say it's really, really hard. And it was for me that first time. This time was no problem though. And there's just a couple tricks that make it super easy. So I'm gonna share with all you crybabies out there how to install a CushCore from a wheelchair. Before I get into it, I would like to address the topic of CushCore. A lot of people say, oh, you don't need it, it's a waste, it's just a pain in the ass. I totally disagree. Really, it depends on where you're riding. If you're riding somewhere like Sedona or Moab where it's really ledgy and your wheel is just going to take a pounding on ledges a lot, the CushCore is really important, and it's actually the norm out there. And as an adaptive rider, not having the dynamic suspension of my body to take a lot of the pounding, CushCore saves my rear wheel. And people say, well, if you get a flat that you can't fix, then you're screwed because you can't put a tube in. Well, one, that's not true. You can put a tube in. You just have to remove the CushCore. That's not easy, but doable. But with the CushCore, you don't really need to put a tube in. The CushCore offers an equivalent of about 8 psi. So if you don't have that far to go, you can technically ride on it. That's my 2 cents about CushCore. I love it. I'm a fan. Let me know what you think in the comments. Do you run CushCore? Do you not? Why? Why not? Okay, to start, here's what you're going to need. Cup of coffee and or beer. Number 1. Your wheel built, taped up, ready to go. Thank you, Brent at Revolution Bike Shop, for building my wheels. They are beautiful and a work of art. You're a nice boy. Your CushCore and valve stem. You will need your tire. And here's the tools you're gonna need. Something with a soft wooden handle. I'm not gonna use the mallet end, I'm gonna use the handle. Some zip ties. This is a little trick of the trade I learned. Some scissors and some good tire levers. I have experimented with a lot of tire levers, and Pedros is the only one I use now. Not sponsored by them, nothing. This is just the best tire lever out there. But with a couple little tricks, it's not that much pressure on the tire lever. On the subject of tire levers, one thing to never do is use a metal tire lever. After the first time I installed the CushCore and it was super hard, I decided I was never going to do it again, and I took it to an unnamed bike shop. I'm not going to name it because my friends own it and I don't want to throw them under the bus. I had their mechanic install the CushCore for me. He used a metal tire lever and basically opened up my rim like a tin can. Destroyed my wheel. When I was in Moab a few months ago, I took my wheel to Chili Pepper Bike Shop. They installed the CushCore in like 10 minutes, super easy. If you're experienced and follow just a couple tricks, it's really not bad at all. Okay, let's get started. Okay, so CushCore. I'm gonna go ahead and cut it open. Woo! Let's get this valve stem going. CushCore, total confidence. I must say that I am sponsored by CushCore. They sent me these for free. The owner, Dan, is a super nice guy. He just wants to help me out. All right, installing the valve core. Remove the little nut and the little O-ring. Find the hole. Where's the hole? There it is. Stick it in. Slide on your little O-ring. The O-ring goes on the outside of the rim. The nut has a flat edge and a beveled edge. That little O-ring fits inside the beveled edge. And just get that nice and tight. Doesn't have to be perfect right now because all we're doing is installing the CushCore and tire. We're not putting the sealant and everything in yet. I'm gonna go ahead and put the cap on now because I will lose it. I lose everything. Now, installing the CushCore. They used to make these little divots for the valve core, but they don't anymore. It doesn't matter. Here is where I kind of add one of my little tricks to the trade. Zip ties. Hold the CushCore on with zip ties as you install it. These ones are a little short, but it's all I have. I recommend just a little bit longer. And then come around till it gets hard to put it on, right about there, and put another zip tie. Now, let me just say, for all you crybabies out there, I do not have full hand strength, nor full tricep strength. I've had a couple neck injuries, and life is different now. I've got to figure things out. But if I can do this with not full arm strength or hand strength, you sure as hell can.
And that's all I have to say about that.
So look, I've got 3 zip ties on there, and it's starting to get hard to do. This is where you employ the use of your soft handle tool. So now I'm going to pull this over. Not too bad. Hold that in place and use a zip tie. Yeah, I need longer ones. There we go. That's on. Look at that. It's on. See, that wasn't hard at all, and all I used was 1, 2, 3, 4 zip ties. And you want to pull this out carefully so you don't damage your rim. This is why it needs to be soft handle. CushCore is on. The hardest part is over, and that wasn't that bad. And this is what the scissors are for. Cut the zip ties. Boom. Now, tire, coffee, one thing about the new bike is that it fits 27.5-inch wheels. That opens up tire choices big time. And now I can try the S.L.J tire. It's the S.L.J, named after the pro rider that designed them. This one I set up as my left tire. See where the brake rotor is and the direction of the ramps on the tire? That's my left. So I have to set this up, make sure I set this up as my right. So it's gonna go this way. We're getting there little by little. Back to this side. Oh, look how close we are. Most people can just pull this over, but I cannot. There we go. Boom! Tire is on. So now the next step is to push the bead of the tire underneath the CushCore. So you have to pull the CushCore back, kind of do this motion, but also use your fingers and push the bead down. This is where I'm really testing my hand strength. And I kind of go back to the other side. Here is the big deal. This is the thing that you have to do to make this easy. You need to push the bead of the tire all the way into the valley where the bead needs to seat in order for the tire to fit. If you look, you see this line here? Make that line disappear. See? Line disappear all the way around. You will not be able to get the tire on if you do not do this. And then get back to pushing it in again, and you kind of go back and forth. And look all the way around. If you can see that line, push it in. Some tires have that line, some don't. So if you don't have that line, just gotta judge it. Now I'm using the tire levers to pull the tire over. Boom. And then you can see a little bit of that line is sticking out. So I'm gonna push the line down again. So you just keep doing this. You do like one little inch, and then push it down. God, the tire doesn't even feel tight with it pushed down like that. Boom, just goes right over. Pretty close to being able to just do it. Get it in the valley. And it'll make it so easy to pull that tire over. Yep. Boom. Just like that. Like, that wasn't hard at all. And I don't even have full hand strength. Now, next step is to flip it over and do the other side. Just basically repeat all the steps. I'm going to turn the camera off to save battery. This should only take me a minute to get this. Okay, now for the fun parts. There it goes. I can hear all the spokes tensioning. That's cool. It didn't really click, but it's in and it's holding air. The bead was already seated. It didn't pop at all. It just automatically held air. So now the next step is to put sealant in, air it back up, install the rotors, put them on my bike, and these beauties are ready to take a pounding with their CushCores. Thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I hope this video helped you. If it did, make sure you hit that thumbs up. Check out the Patreon link and become a Patreon. Help me to hire a video editor. It's gonna make a big difference. I'm gonna be able to put out a lot more videos if I can do that. Thank you, CushCore. I love ya. Let's go get hugged by Mother Nature together. Bye-bye. It's actually a little less than lukewarm. Oh, it's a little bit of blood on the tire. Never hurt nobody. Once it hits your lips.